Quickly, I want to get your take on Wilder Fury. Obviously, it was last weekend. Mark Breland's gotten a lot of slack, I feel like, for throwing in the towel. At least Wilder seemed upset about it. As a trainer, I mean, that's kind of your number one job, right? Is to make sure your fighter comes back and lives to fight another day, basically.
I think Breland did a great job. He threw in the towel right at the right moment. He was going to get hurt. He was already getting beat up, and I think Mark Breland did exact right at the time. I think it could have probably been stopped during that in between that break, because if you go back to the video, Wilder was already beat up. He wouldn't even lift his head up. He wouldn't respond. He looked beat up. I think right there it would have been so easy to just say that's it, no more, and nobody would have complained or anything. I think Mark Breland did what he had to do. He's taking a lot of heat, especially by Wilder, and if Wilder fires him and hires somebody else, well, then that's gonna be his bad. Because I think Breland did what any other trainer that loves his fighter would do.
Right. What do you think about the 45-pound costume and that kind of weakening the legs of what Wilder's saying? What's your take on that whole thing?
Look, I don't know if that was the case or if that was the reason. I do know that when I seen the fight since the first round, not even after he got dropped the first time. No, I'm talking about since the first round. I noticed something was wrong with Wilder. I right away I told everybody around me. I said, you know what, something's wrong with him. He's just not the same. His balance wasn't good. His punches weren't solid. I just noticed. I don't know. I just noticed. I just seen something different. And then obviously after he got dropped, then everything made it even worse. He just had no strength, no power. He was weak. But I thought it started since the first round. Something must have went wrong during training camp. He just doesn't want to say it. A lot of fighters go through hundreds of rounds of sparring. They do all their medicals a month, 2 months before, but then they still have to go through all that sparring, and it's hard sparring. Sometimes fighters get knocked out in the gym and nobody says anything, nobody mentions anything, and that could. I'm not saying that's what happened, but something must have happened, or he got sick. I don't know. He just doesn't want to say it. But I think something was off. I just didn't see the Wilder that we've seen before. Wilder is very strong. Hits hard. He's got a lot of confidence. But and maybe not the most skillful fighter, but his balance is great. He's jabbing and looking for that right hand. Even though he might be losing some rounds, especially when he fought Ortiz, but his feet were still strong. His balance was planted. Everything was good. And then when he landed, he landed. This time around, it was never going to happen. It was just not him.
Yeah, no, and not taking any credit away, obviously, from Tyson Fury. He looked excellent.
No, and I actually picked Fury to win by decision. I thought he was going to win by decision, but it was just not Wilder though that I expected.
You're known to seeing for sure. With Fury and AJ, everyone's talking about that now. Break down that fight for me. How does that play out?
Look, interesting fight. I think AJ is he's more skilled. He's got a better style. Box is beautiful, but I still question his heart and his chin. We've seen it with in his fight with Andy Ruiz. The rematch, he boxed good and did everything he had to do to win. But those moments where Andy made it to the inside, he was just too worried to get hit. He was just worried. I think Wilder is just too big and strong. Fury is just too big and strong, and eventually I think Fury will catch him. But skills wise, I'll pick AJ. 100%.
Right. No, it's an interesting fight. Hopefully that materializes. Last subject, man, I want to talk to you about Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders. Seeming like that's going to happen.
Is that already?
It's not like official, but it seems to be leaning that way at least. What do you think about that fight, that style matchup? Canelo at 168. Obviously, we saw him at 75. He looked good. What do you think about that fight?
Look, I know Canelo is pound for pound the best fighter in the world. He's got great skills, great defense, tremendous power, great chin. Who's the guy he's fighting?
Billy Joe Saunders. You don't know Billy Joe Saunders?
That's why I was going to tell you. I don't think I've ever seen him fight. So
Really?
So I don't even know what to say. But just knowing Canelo, I pick Canelo by knockout. I pick Canelo.
Just take a shot in the dark there.
I'm sure I've probably seen him, but I have to maybe
He beat
watch.
David Lemieux. No,
Yeah,
so
I have no idea.
Oh, well, I guess Canelo it is. Against Billy Joe Saunders.
Canelo.
Robert, appreciate your time, brother. Thank you so much.
Got
I
it,
appreciate you, brother.